හරිම සුමුදුයි.
Tonight on First at 9, this Saturday, the 14th of October, 2023. Equitable debt restructuring. Ad hoc group of Sri Lankan bondholders submit restructuring proposal. Says committed to working with authorities to solve debt challenges. Kankasanture Nagapatnam. Passenger ferry service between India and Sri Lanka recommences after nearly 40 years.
We hope that to see more and more persons coming to Sri Lanka, travelling from Sri Lanka into India.
Connectivity is not only about bringing two cities closer, it also brings our country's people and our hearts closer.
10 million trees. Sri Lanka's premium entertainment experience, AdaDerana, celebrates a legacy of 18 years. AdaDerana initiates project to promote environmental conservation. Israel-Hamas war. Sri Lanka's president calls for global unity to address escalating hostilities.
ඔබේ විශ්වාසය දෙනු සෙන්සුරයින් දැන් ළඟමැති ෆාමසින් ලබාගත හැක.
From AdaDerana, this is AdaDerana First at 9 with Indivadi Amuata. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
And a warm welcome. You're joining us here on AdaDerana 24. And let me take you to your top story tonight. The ad hoc group of Sri Lanka bondholders who submitted their own restructuring process related to Sri Lanka's international bonds says the group remains committed to working with Sri Lankan authorities to achieve relevant, equitable and sustainable debt, to explore sustainable solutions to the country's debt challenges. Now, the proposal, which provides upfront debt relief, includes a menu of new securities that would be offered to Sri Lankan authorities to look at, including a macro-linked bond. The group said its decision is consistent with its February 3rd statement of financing assurances and in line with the objectives which have been expressed by official and private sector participants in the Global Sovereign Debt Roundtable to facilitate more efficient and equitable sovereign debt restructuring process.
An ad hoc group of bondholders of Sri Lanka has taken note of the progress the country has made with its official sector creditors towards reaching an agreement in principle on debt treatment within the framework of its IMF program. Consistent with the group's statements of financing assurances issued on the 3rd of February this year, and in line with the objectives which have been expressed by official and private sector participants within the Global Sovereign Debt Roundtable to facilitate more efficient and equitable sovereign debt restructuring processes, the group remains committed to working with the relevant authorities as quickly as possible in order to find a sustainable solution to the country's debt challenges as they relate to its international bond debt. The news report stated to that end, the group, acting through its steering committee, recently proactively submitted its own restructuring proposal relating to Sri Lanka's outstanding international bonds. The proposal, which provides upfront debt relief, includes a menu of new securities that would be offered to the holders of the existing bonds, including a macro-linked bond. The macro-linked bond is an innovative new instrument that is designed to be liquid and index-eligible and whose payouts are linked to the evolution of Sri Lanka's GDP. This design seeks to ensure that the instrument is both acceptable to bond market participants and that its cash flows will at all times comply with the debt sustainability analysis targets embedded in Sri Lanka's IMF program in a range of future macroeconomic scenarios. The group's proposal, including the macro-linked bond, is expected to contribute to restoring Sri Lanka's debt sustainability and command broad support from existing holders of Sri Lanka's international bonds simultaneously.
Well, Indian Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman appreciates Sri Lanka's resolution to its crisis, due to its engagements with the International Monetary Fund. Following one of the worst economic crises in history, Sri Lanka's resurgence has been a point of reference amongst much of the international community, as witnessed by observations made during the recently concluded UN General Assembly. Addressing a media briefing during the annual meeting of the IMF World Bank Group in Morocco, the Indian finance minister said that Sri Lanka's debt crisis can be a template for any other country in the world to follow in the future.
The crisis which came to Sri Lanka could not be addressed by the common framework because it was a middle income country. It couldn't qualify to be addressed in the common framework. So it was outside of the common framework. And I think compared to many others, the speed with which Sri Lanka is getting its resolution through the IMF is very good. In fact, speedy compared to many others who are under the common framework. I'm not passing a judgment on the common framework versus others, but in general, there is today in IMF and very many other institutions, a realization that it has to be speedier, and Sri Lanka's resolution is happening speedier. In fact, if I would want to draw your attention, the very formation of the creditor committee through a sovereign debt roundtable, which the IMF together with the World Bank under the India presidency with us also co-chairing it, addressed the issue of Sri Lankan debt crisis. And today that probably will stand as a template for any other country in the future. So it is moving, I would think, per the formula and speedily. It can be speedier is a different story, but the fact is it is much speedier handled now.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe highlighted that the commencement of the ferry service between India and Sri Lanka will aid in re-establishing sea connectivity between the two nations, which was disrupted due to conflict in Sri Lanka. Meanwhile, Indian Premier Narendra Modi said that India remains committed towards working closely with Sri Lanka, adding that India will work towards resuming the ferry service between Rameswaram and Talemana.
A ferry service between India and Sri Lanka ceremoniously commenced today. Accordingly, the passenger ferry Cheriyapani commenced its journey from India today with the participation of Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, while President Ranil Wickremesinghe joined the occasion virtually. The passenger vessel, which is 35 meters long and 9.6 meters wide, has the ability to carry up to 150 passengers. Cheriyapani takes a total of 4 hours to reach Kankasanthule from Nagapattinam in India. The total cost of the ticket, including the returning ticket, adds up to 53,500 rupees. The Cheriyapani arrived at the Kankasanthule port at 11:30 a.m. this morning, carrying 50 passengers aboard. The passengers and the crew of the vessel, comprising of 14, were welcomed by the Minister of Ports, Shipping and Aviation, Nimau Siripala de Silva. The vessel started its journey towards India at 2:30 p.m.
The connectivity between our two countries were disrupted due to the war in the north. Now peace has returned and we can re-establish the sea connectivity. I discussed this matter with Prime Minister Modi, and I must thank him and the Indian Shipping Corporation for the role they have played in re-establishing this connectivity. We hope that to see more and more persons coming to Sri Lanka, traveling from Sri Lanka into India. The Kankasanthule is very important, but the first time the ferry service comes to Kankasanthule. Similarly with the Palali airport, which gives us air connectivity, and Kankasanthule, which gives us sea connectivity, we could see an increase of transactions between our two countries.
During the recent visit of President Wickremesinghe, we jointly adopted a vision document for our economic partnership. Connectivity is the central theme of this partnership. Connectivity is not only about bringing two cities closer, it also brings our countries closer, our people closer, and our hearts closer. Connectivity enhances trade, tourism, and people-to-people ties. It also creates opportunities for the youth of both countries. With the beginning today, we will also work towards resuming the ferry service between Rameswaram and Talaimannar. Friends, India remains committed to working closely with Sri Lanka to further strengthen our bilateral ties for the mutual benefit of our people.
But in time to come, Indian government has already called for expression of interest for any interested parties to operate more vessels between Nagapattinam and KKS, especially the bigger vessels, so that even during the time of monsoon, we can keep this thing alive and ensure that every day that there will be vessels coming here. It's my endeavour as the Minister of Port and Shipping to ensure that the connectivity between Dhanushkodi and Rameshwaram and Talaimana be activated. So I have already allocated 600 million to repair the Talaimana pier, and once that is repaired, bigger vessels and ships and boats will come from Dhanushkodi to Talaimana.
TV Derana, which enjoys the reputation of being a pioneer and a maverick in changing the country's traditional media landscape, celebrates 18 years of legacy as Sri Lanka's premium entertainment experience. During the past 18 years, Derana has been locally and internationally recognized as the premier Sri Lankan news, current affairs and entertainment provider. With that, let's take a brief look at the stories and colourful history that has enstamped Derana's values in the country.
18 years ago, in an era where the country's media landscape was crying out for innovation and something new, TV Derana was birthed on the 11th of October 2005 under the theme Ape De Rakagena Aluth De Aragena, which directly translates to conserve our own and embrace the new. Channel's transmission only limited to the Western Province during its inception as a part of its humble beginnings, but today is embraced by the public in every part of Sri Lanka via its news and current affairs, sports, web space and corporate social responsibility projects such as the AdaDerana program. Shortly after its launch, TV Derana proceeded to forever alter the country's reality TV landscape with the advent and introduction of reality programs starting with Derana Little Star and Derana Dream Star, providing a platform and a future for youngsters and youth to unleash hidden talent and be celebrated. Not long after, Derana graduated into programs such as the Derana City of Dance and Derana 60 Plus for the youth and elders to showcase their abilities on the reality stage. There was now something for everyone as Derana sought to establish that this was a channel that embraced inclusivity and diversity. Via initiatives such as the Derana Music Video Awards and the Derana Film Awards, TV Derana awarded personalities that rendered contributions of excellence towards the enhancement and well-being of the country's cinema and music industry, while the TV Derana Sri Lankan of the Year award ceremony recognized individuals who had rendered their invaluable service towards the well-being of the nation across differing spheres. Teledramas including Devani Inima, Sangeete and Iskole telecast on TV Derana have claimed peak ratings within the list of Sri Lankan TV programs, showcasing the highest preference of the country's audience towards TV Derana.
AdaDerana.
The #1 news brand and news provider in country and recipient of both local and international awards, AdaDerana has also become the most trusted and relied upon news provider of Sri Lanka.
For news and information 24 hours a day, visit AdaDerana.lk, Sri Lanka's #1 news source.
Further, the trilingual news alert service introduced by AdaDerana via SMS was the first of its kind by a media channel in Sri Lanka to update the general public on news and current affairs in real time. Adding more to the list of achievements claimed by TV Derana, its YouTube channel became the first and only television channel in the history of Sri Lanka to near the 5 million subscribers mark by providing a level of entertainment that is unparalleled to its audience in the web space, proving that TV Derana is the #1 channel in Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka's premium entertainment experience.
Outside of its engagement in news, programs and the web space, TV Derana's social responsibility projects such as AdaDerana and Little Hearts have acted and continue to act as a lending hand to communities that need dire support.
Slim People's Awards.
Due to its considerable contributions, the Derana Media Network was awarded the People's Channel Award for 7 consecutive years from 2017 to date at the Slim Awards ceremony, which once again speaks to immense affinity that the general public entrust with the network of their preferred choice. Derana has also claimed the award for the most popular TV channel of the year, the most popular channel of the youth, the most popular news broadcast of the year, and the most popular TV drama for multiple years at the Slim Awards ceremony, proving Derana's public status.
ජනතාවගේ ප්‍රියතම ටෙලිවිෂන් නාලිකාව TV Derana.
18 years down, TV Derana, which dared to reimagine the Sri Lankan media landscape in every sphere and usher the paradigm shift it enjoys, continues its legacy by remaining faithful to the cause of its course, to the reason behind every broadcast, and to the most precious commodity which Derana values, our audience, our fans, our dear viewers.
Meanwhile, a major project to plant 10 million trees was launched this morning in celebration of the 18th anniversary of TV Derana. The project themed Let's Decorate Nature with Trees is carried out by Manusat Derana, the corporate social responsibility initiative of TV Derana.
Commemorating the 18th anniversary of TV Derana, a project to plant 10 million trees under the theme Let's Beautify Nature with Trees, launched by Derana's corporate social responsibility arm, Manusat Derana, commenced today. The program was broadcast live on TV Derana and AdaDerana 24 from 7:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. in the morning.
Derana 18 වන සංවත්සරය කරන අද දවසේ අපි කල්පනා කරලා බලන්න ඕන පිටිපස්සට ගිහිල්ලා අපි පටන් ගන්නකොට අපේ තිබිච්ච සිතුවිලි අරමුණු මොනවද අද ඒ සිතුවිලි අරමුණු අපිට ඉෂ්ට කරගන්න පුළුවන් වෙලා තියෙනවද කියලා. මම ඉතින් සභාපතිතුමා පටන් ගන්න දවසේම කිව්වා අපි මේකේ අලුත් සංස්කෘතියක් අලුත් ආඛ්‍යානයක් අපි සමාජයට අඳුන්වන්නදීම කියලා. අපිට අද හැරලා බලනකොට තාමත් සන්තෝෂ වෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ අරමුණු මට පිහිටලා ඒ මත වැඩ කිරීම තුළ අපි අද ප්‍රතිඵල ලබලා තියෙනවා. අපි අද ලංකාවේ ජනප්‍රියම ප්‍රවෘත්ති නාලිකාව ඒ වගේම අපේ ස්ලිම් නිල්සන් බැලුවත් ඒකේ අපි අවුරුදු 6ක් විතර දිගටම ජනප්‍රියම නාලිකාව මේකේ හිටවන ගස් ගන්න නෙමෙයි වැදගත් මේ ගස් ගන්න ටාගට් එකක් තියාගත්තට වැදගත්ම අරමුණ තමයි මේකේ කරන sannivedanaya අපි සබාධමයි ආරක්ෂා කර යුත්තේ පණිවිඩය තමයි අපි ගෙනියන්නේ අපේ මේ පණිවිඩය මේ ජනගහනයේ මිලියන 22කට ගෙනහිල්ලා ඒ මිලියන 22 විශ්වාස කරන්න පටන් ගත්ත දවසට තමයි මේ වැඩසටහන සම්පූර්ණ වෙන්නේ.
Joining the initiative of planting 10 million trees, chairman of the Derana Media Network, Dilip Javira, planted a sapling close to the expressway entrance in Kadawatha. This occasion was also attended by State Minister of Indigenous Medicine, Sisira Chayakodi.
මම සතුටු වෙනවා අද දවසේ පැල මිලියනයක් අපි හිටවල ඒක සම්පූර්ණ කරලා මේ මිලියන 10 ඉලක්කය කරා යන්න සිටුවීම ආරම්භ කිරීම ගැන
දෙරණ හැමදාම අතිවිශිෂ්ට දේවල් කරන්නේ. අපි විශේෂ ස්තුතියක් කරනවා දෙරණ කණ්ඩායමට මෙවැනි ජාතික මෙහෙවරක් ඉෂ්ට කිරීම පිළිබඳව.
Speaker of Parliament Mahindeyapa Abewardena also contributed to the project of Deranas by planting a sapling at his official residence.
යක් ඉඳනවා කියලා කියන්නේ අපේ රටේ විතරක් නෙවෙයි මුළු මනුෂ්‍ය සංහතියටම දැවැන්ත පිටිවහලක් සිද්ධ වෙන කාර්යයක්.
Meanwhile, as his contribution, a sapling was also planted by opposition leader Sajith Premadasa at his residence.
ස්වභාවික සම්පත් පරිසරය ප්‍රවර්ධනය කිරීම උදෙසා දීප ව්‍යාප්තව ආරම්භ කරපු මේ වැඩසටහන ප්‍රශංසනීයයි.
The project of planting 10 million trees also saw the involvement of several interested parties, including the Sri Lanka Army and many schools. The live broadcast at TV Derana Studios was also joined by Vedda Chief Uruvarge Vanelatto and prominent actors and actresses in Sri Lanka. During the live broadcast of this program, people from across the country were requested to forward a photograph of saplings planted via WhatsApp. The photos received are scheduled to be aired on TV Derana throughout the month.
Taking you to other local news, a cache of weapons was discovered near the residence of former Speaker Ananda Kumarasiri during a raid operation conducted by the Buttala Special Task Force. A suspect believed to be responsible for the possession and administration of the mini armory was also arrested concurrently. With that, here's a look at more news across the country in brief.
A cache of weapons was recovered near the house of former Speaker Ananda Kumarasiri during a raid conducted by the Buttalapalli Special Task Force. A suspect along with 2 live grenades, 2 ammunition guns, a bulletproof vest and a knife was arrested by the STF officers while on premises. Sri Lanka Navy has apprehended 2 individuals who were preparing over 274 kilograms of dried sea cucumber for illegal transportation during a search operation conducted at Kudava Beach in Kalpitiya recently. Along with the stock of dried sea cucumber, an SUV used for this illegal act was also taken into naval custody. The suspects, along with the stock of dried sea cucumber and the cab, were handed over to the Katunayaka Customs Preventive Office for further legal proceedings. Further, a fire which broke out at a shop selling plastic goods at Bauddha Lokamavata in Kurunagala this morning completely destroyed the store. Following investigations, the police now suspect that the fire has erupted due to an electrical fault. An elephant that was transported to the Kalani River near the Mapitigama Bridge in Navagamur has reportedly fallen down a cliff of 20 feet yesterday. The 70-year-old elephant was reported to be in critical condition after the incident and is currently being provided with basic treatment by veterinary medical officers.
Welcome back. Amidst escalating tensions between Israel and Hamas, President Ranil Wickremesinghe stresses the need for dialogue and cooperation among nations to address the situation. Speaking at an event hosted by the geopolitical cartographer, an international research foundation specializing in the Indian Ocean, under the theme Emerging New Order in the Indian Ocean region, the President emphasized that the international community must work together to maintain a stable geopolitical system.
What I'm finding, I'm surprised is the amount of support that Palestine is getting in places like Europe and America, where the campuses are divided. Everyone sympathized with Israel at the beginning, but will that be there next week? Everyone sympathized with USA at 9/11. Whatever support they lost was a year or two after. So how are you going to, what will be the position in our part of the world? In the Indian Ocean, that will be the worst affected. We've got to think of it. What do governments do? There are limited options available for them, especially if the Hamas is not found or destroyed in Gaza. If you go in and destroy the Hamas, catch the leaders, there may be something to be said. But do you think they did this to be caught? I am of the view that Hamas should be punished. The Hamas should, don't find the leaders. What is the consequence for the global economy? For the geopolitics. I mean, it's going to change. It's no longer a unipolar world, it's not a bipolar world. You need so many other factors. You can't ignore Asia. In the Indian Ocean, we count. So how are you going to manage? Fortunately, at the moment, everyone is talking to each other. And there are a lot of backstage diplomacy that's going on. But what will happen once the Israeli army moves into Gaza, and especially if you don't find the Hamas leadership, is the $64 trillion question. Can't tell you what it is. But this can change the world, global order. I'm surprised at some of the reactions that are taking place in different parts of the world. But those extreme reactions should not be allowed to hold sway, whether it's among the Islamic world or among the Israelis and the Jews or among the West. But firstly, we must all outside Israel and the Gaza come to us as censors. Then where do we go from here? I've said all this. I don't think Gaza and US will get together and Israel can get together. I don't think you can even have a two-state solution. So what do you have? You have Israel that's functioning, Gaza that's destroyed, you have Palestine that is half functioning, and you have Lebanon that's also half functioning. At least got to take 4 states into. If you are going to look for a solution, establish 4 states, not for 2. And you got to think of Syria beyond that. So I think all I can say is it's time we started thinking anew. Going along the old grooves will not help us, whichever way the events turn out in the next few days.
In your business news segment, State Minister of Investment Promotion Dilum Amunugama says a verbal agreement was reached to establish a Japan-Sri Lanka free trade zone in Sri Lanka, adding that this decision was made as a result of discussions held during his visit to Japan. The State Minister further highlighted that the free trade zone is expected to be established in Bingiria or in Iranavela.
ජපානයේදීත් අපි යම් එකගතාවයකට ආවා. ජපාන් ශ්‍රී ලංකා ෆ්‍රී ට්‍රේඩ් සෝන් එකක් අපි ආරම්භ කරන්න ලංකාවේ. ගොඩක් වෙලාවට අපි බිංගිරිය ආශ්‍රිතව තමයි සහ ඉරණවිල වොයිස් ඔෆ් ඇමරිකාව සතුව තිබුණු ඉඩම ආශ්‍රිතව තමයි අපි මේක කරන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ. මේ ජපානයේ අපි හිටපු වෙලාවේ සාකච්ඡාවල ප්‍රතිඵලයක් හැටියට ජපාන ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් වෙළඳ කලාපයක් ආරම්භ කරන්න වාචිකව ඒ සියලු පාර්ශව එකඟ වුණා. ඒ ඉතුරු වැඩ කොටස අපි ඉස්සරහට කරන්නට අවශ්‍යයි. ඉතින් එහෙම බැලුවොත් හම්බන්තොට ප්‍රදේශයේ කොහොමත් අපි චීන සමාගම් එක තමයි බහුතරයක් වැඩ කරලා තියෙන්නේ. ඒ වගේම අපේ සෝන්සුත් අලුතෙන් මම කලින් කිව්වනේ ඒවත් පටන් ගන්න බලාපොරොත්තු.
And in corporate affairs, Sri Lanka Mobitel, in its latest initiative, confirmed that a whistleblower unit will be established within the firm, enabling company employees and stakeholders connected with the firm and its customers to report concerns over serious suspected misconduct. The company said through the initiative, actions regarding concerns will be strictly implemented. With that, let's take a look at more corporate news in brief.
SLT Mobitel has introduced a mechanism which is an enhanced whistleblowing procedure to further strengthen the organization's environment, social and governance policies. In a statement, the firm said that a key component of the upgraded procedure is the impartial whistleblowing unit, which comprises a panel completely independent from SLT Mobitel to conduct preliminary investigations into reported incidents. The whistleblower procedure enables company employees, any stakeholder connected to the organization, or the public to report concerns about suspected serious misconduct that may adversely affect the company's customers, shareholders, employees, investors, or the general public at large. Sri Lanka's Colombo Stock Exchange has conducted a series of virtual workshops and confirmed that it intends to continue more workshops on regulated short selling through stock borrowing and lending, creating awareness on the two features to a diverse group of individuals. The virtual workshops are being conducted in Sinhala, English and Tamil with the intention of reaching a mass audience. The target audience varies from internal parties, existing and potential investors and other market participants including the general public.
And that wraps up tonight's edition of First at 9. Good night.